We're going to Parliament shortly. We understand that the minority is blaming government for the failure to digitize Ghana more comprehensively. That debate is ongoing vigorously in the House. Now, they have been saying specifically that Vice President Dr. Bawumia is trying to usurp the work of the communications minister after failure in managing the economy. Responding to the Vice President's comments at a National Youth Day event, that's the NPP is on a digitization agenda to help turn around the economy. The minority insisted that Dr. Bawumia's digitization agenda has failed. NDC MP on Parliament's Communications Committee Samuel Jatta George told the media the Vice President peddled a lot of falsehood when he bragged about the successes in the digitization sector.
Dr. Bawumia, when he spoke when he addressed the youth wing of the NPP and made claims about technology and the role he has played in the mobile money interoperability space, which finds its context within the telecoms and finance sectors. Let us state for the record that mobile money and the whole concept of digital money was introduced 11 years ago in Ghana in 2009 by MTN. At that time, Dr. Bawumia was not vice president. And so Dr. Bawumia cannot claim that his technological initiatives or his digitization has driven mobile money. Yesterday, Dr. Bawumia made very erroneous claims. One of such claims was the fact that we now have 15 million people or Ghanaians who have bank accounts. What Dr. Bawumia fails to realize is that one individual can have multiple mobile money accounts. So when he sees that we have 15 million mobile money accounts, it does not mean that 15 million Ghanaians have mobile money accounts. Some of you in the media here have 2 or 3 phones on 2 or 3 different networks. And so Dr. Bawumia is counting you who have 2 phones and have Momo on MTN and Momo on Vodafone as 2 individuals. That's how intelligent the logic of Dr. Bawumia is. Again, the claim by Dr. Bawumia that interoperability is the reason why we have hit 15 million is false and is not supported by the science of mobile money. Reason being very simple. Interoperability is a new addition to what is already an existing platform. In fact, interoperability is accounting for less than 3% of the growth in the industry. Because before interoperability kicked in, you could send money from an MTN customer to a Vodafone customer. You could do that by sending a token. And the person will take the token to an MTN client or vendor and be able to cash out the money. Yes, we accept that you could not send to a Vodafone or Airtel Tigo cash wallet directly from an MTN, but there was still the value chain of interoperability. Even before you had the full operation of interoperability, you had other third-party apps like SlidePay, ExpressPay, and Co. that were doing transfers between mobile accounts. And so for Dr. Bawumia to come and paint a picture as though interoperability is the all-in-all and has contributed for what it is that we see the growth in the mobile money industry is false and is not true. Again, let me state for the record that before interoperability, the platform of interoperability came in, you could connect your mobile money account to your bank account. So it was possible to move money from your bank to your Momo account. And a bank like Fidelity Bank actually allowed you to use your ATM to withdraw money from your Momo account. If you went to an ATM with Fidelity Bank, even before interoperability, you could enter in your ATM card, enter in your mobile number, and be able to cash out if your mobile account was linked to your Fidelity Bank account before interoperability. So when Dr. Bawumia makes the claims that he's making, it is sad. It's unfortunate when you have someone who was touted to us as an economic messiah, who has failed in the economics of it and has reduced himself from being from being vice president to becoming a minister of state at the Ministry of Communication under the Minister for Communications, Cecil Owusu. I doubt that his minister would approve of the comments that he made. Dr. Bawumia is now best seen as a minister of state at the Ministry of Communication. Let me also end by saying that The interoperability claim that Ghanaians now have bank accounts and we are 15 million of us is false. We would, in a very short period, in a very short while, within the next 3 weeks, be holding a proper engagement where we would take on the so-called digitization agenda of Dr. Bawumia and subject it to strict proof and establish to you the fact that after failing in economics to manage the economy and not finding a space in the government economic management team, he again cannot come and usurp the position of Mrs. Eslaus, who is the Minister for Communication.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo was at that news conference and he's joined us with a bit more detail. So, Joseph, did the NDC or the minority provide any alternatives when it comes to digitization in the country?
They insist that they had a plan that had been rolled out under the first administration of John Dramani Mahama, which going forward, if they have the opportunity, they would continue. Mr. Sam George kept making the point that a lot of the improvement that had been seen in the sector were improvements that were seen during either the first or the second NDC administration, which they would seek to roll back when they come to power.
Right. Were there any specific examples given by Mr. George?
Well, Mr. George, for example, brought in the conversation into areas around efforts to create employment generally. You recall that the Vice President again said that John Dramani Mahama has actually is someone who has a track record of not helping provide job opportunities for the youth and all. In that space, Mr. George made the point that a lot of the successes in terms of what government is doing to provide jobs, including the YEA program and even the other digitization initiatives, are things that started in the Mahama administration, and so he should be given the necessary credit for that rather than being bastardized by the Vice President.
So which other issues came up, Joseph?
As far as the press conference is concerned, the focus was on the issue of digitization and all, which the minority insists that they have a better track record in. But right here in Parliament, the House is expected to go on break a little later today, and there are a number of items on the agenda before they will go on that break. Proceedings has actually started on the floor. For example, the House will be approving a 138 million euro loan facility for the Sunyani water supply expansion project that's expected to happen. The House will also be approving an amount of $330 million US, which is money for the development of the Bawumia Inland Port project. And additionally, you recall that when it comes to frontline health workers, the President has announced that they would enjoy additional tax waivers for the months of July, August, and September. That has also come to Parliament for the necessary approval. The figure is 174 million Ghana cedis. The House will be approving that as well before they rise. And then additionally, they are expected to approve the development finance bill as well, which will regulate various development authorities. And as well, right, the House will be approving the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill 2020, which will be the final item that they will approve before they eventually take their break for the next 2 months.
Now, Joseph, a couple of weeks back, when the Deputy Health Minister was naming government's plan to increase the salaries of frontline health workers, Dr. Bernard Okoboy mentioned that 6,000 frontline health workers will receive this benefit. Does the same apply for the tax waiver, which amounts to 174 million?
The indication is that as far as the frontline health workers are concerned, they are earning separately additional allowance up to, if my memory serves me right, 50% on their salary as additional allowance, and that is all health workers broadly who are getting this particular tax waiver to the tune of 174 million Ghana.
Right, it's clarified then. Thank you. And when the parliamentarians go on break today, when are they coming back?
They are expected to return in about 2 months' time. You know, this is an election year, and so they are done with the very first meeting that they did between February and sometime around 2 months after that. Then they are doing the second meeting now, which is ending. When they take the break today, they will be back in the middle of October, and the focus of that will be the approval of the 2021 budget, which the finance minister will bring to the House, covering the first quarter. And so they are expected to do that for maybe about 6 weeks, and then they'll take a break to go campaign ahead of the elections before eventually they would come back once the elections are done to complete the business up until the 7th of January. One of the things that has just been laid on the floor of the House is a report on the roadmap as far as the Electoral Commission is concerned going into the 2020 elections. You recall that they appeared recently before the Business Committee of Parliament. The details on that is now coming to the general floor, and the document on that has just been laid, and the details of it will be made public basically.
Joseph, thank you very much for those updates from the House.